to Sarah's table. Pew, pew. Finger guns today, I guess. Feels like a finger guns kind of day. Hi. Hi, everyone. My name's Sarah Moore. My pronouns are she, her, and I'm going to be your host today and one of the players, which is exciting because we are playing a game called Women Are Werewolves, which is GM-less. And I am playing it with my lovely guest B, who I'm going to have introduce themselves in just a moment. But before I do, this one can maybe get a little intense. So I'm going to do a safety discussion. So we are going to make sure that today there will be no sexual violence, violence against children, withholding food as punishment, or starvation. B, would you like to add anything to our absolute no-go list?
I mean, most of the EAs, racism, I think that covers mine.
Okay. So I think, and we're gonna walk carefully because inherent to this game is a little bit of potentially homophobia and potentially misgendering, intentional or otherwise. And so if at any point we wander in for either of us into a place that we're like, oh, this is maybe a little bit too much, like, just please let me know and we will scoot along in another direction.
Perfect.
So Women Are Werewolves by Yansu Kim is a card-based prompt role-playing game. And it could get a little heavy. Very heavy, should we just choose to go in that direction. So for folks watching at home, I know that we're usually a little bit lighter here on Sarah's table. And if you think that you are in a vulnerable position where this would not be comfortable for you, then maybe skip tonight and come back next week when we get silly again. But B, thank you so much for joining me. And what are you up to? Who are you?
Who am I? I mean, I wake up every morning and I ask that, and I'm still figuring it out. But
a hard question.
Yeah, as far as I know, my name is B Zelda. My pronouns are they, them. I like to consider myself a non-binary busy bee. At tabletop, everything. I like to try it all. I've done a zillion of D&D podcasts and tabletop adjacent. I'm a tabletop streamer, host, organizer, sensitivity consultant, writer. But seriously, the most exciting is being a performer, which is what I get to do today.
Oh, super fun. Also, I love that your introduction, it's like your personal tagline of your.
Been working on that for a few years,
It's real good. It's real good.
Thank you.
So do you know anything about this game aside from what I have told you?
And I remember like a little bit. I remember you telling me it was intense. You played it before. It's gendery. And because when you first told me, I thought you said the name was Women or Werewolves.
Oh, interesting.
And it was like, why wouldn't I always just choose werewolves?
I would definitely choose werewolves. If those are my options.
It was kind of like, that doesn't quite click. And then it was like, oh, women are werewolves. And I was like, oh, okay, the process, because there's like a little bit of self-exploration happening and kind of deciding, do you want to be a woman or a werewolf? I think.
Yeah. So there's a little bit here. It's only a couple sentences, and this is true at the start of every game. You are non-binary. Once a month, your whole family goes to the family home, capital F, capital H, family home, for the full moon. When the full moon rises, the women of the family go into the wilds to transform into wolves, and the men stay at the house. That's the whole concept of the game. And both of us are neither of those things. We are non-binary. And so while we are creating our characters, we get to decide if the full moon does transform us, how that affects how we see ourselves, how that affects how the people in our family and that family dynamic treat us and what it does to like our psyche and our relationships, whether or not we transform, and where we are most comfortable. Are we comfortable in human form, more comfortable in wolf form? If we transform at all, what does that mean? So, I mean, I think if you're cool, I think we're just going to dive in and start building. So we get to play the 2-player variant, which is still in previews from what I understand. It's a pre-order situation. You can play this with, I think, up to about 6 people, but there are new rules that are being released soon to play it as a solo version or as a 2-player version. So we're tapping in on the cutting edge. All right, so the first thing that we are going to choose, each of us are going to draw, because it's a card game, we're going to draw our wilderness. Okay. This card will represent the area where the family home is located. Let me go down to where those are, because it's just a document for me.
We're from 2 different families, correct?
We are from 2 different families. Okay. Yes, we are. I mean, and there could be some overlap, maybe, but we are from 2 different families. Okay, so you have. I'm just going to have you give me a number between 1 and 13.
13.
You are. Your family home is in the caverns.
Okay.
I'm going to have you do the same thing for me. Give me because I'm looking at it and you are not. So give me another number from 1 to 13.
Ooh, let's go to 3.
My family home is on farmland.
Aw, that's nice. At least it's dry.
Little bumpkin. And we can flesh some of those out as we are in the actual stuff. Okay. Now we're going to choose our family dynamic, and that is maybe this one is hardest, I think, because you're going to be asked to decide what level of bigotry your family displays towards non-binary gender identities. There's a lot. So
how are they like categorized? I'm so curious.
I'm like, there's 3 levels of bigotry here, and it's just kind of a lot. So let's take a look. Here are your options. Our family is well-meaning, but can be unintentionally hurtful. That's level 1.
Okay, it's my IRL.
Yeah. Okay. Level 2 is our family is divided. Some are supportive, but others are intolerant. And this one, there is a little note that says this dynamic includes a prompt where a family member dies.
Ooh. That's intense.
It is intense.
I kind of want to pick that one.
Well, let me give you the third option.
Yeah.
Level 3, our family is willfully ignorant and has no intention of doing better. And this dynamic includes a prompt where NPCs misgender the player character intentionally. How do we feel?
I think I'd be comfortable.
You're going to try feel? Level 3?
Level 3.
All right. I feel like I'm going to go level 2. So we can show both of those in the stream since we are going, it will change the interludes and stuff. Ooh. For each of us. They'll come from different lists, but I feel good about showing both of those. And this is a thing too, that when you are playing in a group, that you can choose your comfort level. It's important for everyone at the table to feel comfortable with everybody's level choices, but you can be comfortable participating in it and not having it at you, if that makes a lot of sense to people. So give that a shot. Our other choice that we have to make. I just keep going back and forth. Oh, our transformation milestone.
Oh.
Which is fun. So we have some options, and there are, I think, enough of them that should we decide. So there are 5. I could read them, or you could choose at random.
Transformation milestone. I'm really curious about them. Will you read them?
Absolutely. So, the transformation milestone is what prompts you to be turning into a wolf for the very first time. Level one is from birth, just happens immediately.
Got it. Okay.
Um, the second one is around puberty. The third, relatedly, is at or after a certain age. Fourth is after a physical, mental, or emotional milestone. Or fifth is after completing a ritual.
Let's go with a certain age. I'm kind of building up this family in my mind that have like these traditional werewolf ideals that are
Mm-hmm.
very black and white. And that would kind of align, I think, like, you hit 15 and there's like a whole celebration to transform into a werewolf. And like, I can imagine how much it sucked.
Yeah, yeah, I bet. So is it 15, you think? That's the
15,
age? Okay.
15 or 16. That's when things are really like emotional,
Big.
in your
Yeah.
existence.
Yeah. I think mine is after completing a ritual, and I think that they were maybe not super jazzed to do that.
So
So,
curious about the ritual. And again,
yeah.
how awful it was.
Yeah. Oof. All right. Okay. Now we have some questions. We have 5 questions that we each get to answer about our characters. Um, the answer to the second question should be around the same
Okay.
for each of us. But the other ones can be wherever we want. So question number 1 is, what are our names and pronouns? And if they encourage you, if you can't come up with a name that you feel like naming is hard for some people, they suggest drawing inspiration from nature.
Like grass or like maple.
Sure. Yeah.
What do I got? Um, I'm just looking at my plants now.
I know.
Not
I'm
very
just like
exciting.
looking around the space.
I have a Monstera. That's an intense name. All right, my
That's
name is gonna be Monstera,
that's very intense. Do you go
right?
by the full name? Do people shorten it to like Sarah
Monster.
or
Or there
no?
we go. I'm like, what is the short form of that one? Monstera, Stera. There has to be a short form though, because it's a lot, and people
It's
will
a lot.
kind of
Is it Ra?
Monstera,
We
Ra. I
go by
think Ra
Ra.
is probably the best. I like that.
Okay. And your pronouns as Ra.
They, them.
Yeah. I feel like you know what? I happen to have on my desk right now a Language of Flowers Oracle card deck.
Ooh,
So I'm just
pull
gonna
a card.
just
Pull
gonna
a
pull one
card.
and see what my name's gonna be.
That's amazing, and I need that in my life now.
Yeah, right. Oh, well, this is a weird one.
Ooh,
So we're
okay.
gonna have to come up with a way to shorten it because it's frangipani.
Ooh,
Frangipani.
Frangipani. You got a couple of pulls from that.
Yeah. So I think maybe they go by Panny.
Perfect.
Panny. Also, my witch is showing a little bit. Hi, everyone. And I believe that this character is, I think he is what they feel most comfortable with.
Perfect.
All right. How old are we?
What age was your ritual performed?
I think double digits, I think at 10.
Okay. I'm thinking anywhere from early 20s to even mid 30s.
Yeah. Okay. I like that. We want to do like 30 something,
I think
30,
that'd be really fun.
32.
Yeah.
All right. Because some of these are going to end up being, flashback scenes. So it'll be around, but yeah, early 30s. All right.
Love it.
Do you transform into a wolf when the full moon rises?
Is it a yes or no, or is there like a yes but?
It's currently a yes or no. And I think the yes but thing is what we explore in the scenes.
Okay, then yes.
I believe I do as well. Are you happy with your wolf form, or do you wish your body was different?
Unhappy. A lot of various levels of dysphoria.
Yeah. I think I'm probably most happy when I am in my wolf form.
I
I
like
think
that.
that's the place that I feel most comfortable,
Hmm.
aside from the misgendering, I would imagine.
Yes.
Aside from that, everything's really good.
It's already so interesting, and I'm excited to explore it.
No. And then the last question is, what do you do to unwind when the moon isn't full? What is your hobby?
I think it's going to be gardening.
Oh, yay. I have, listen, I am a black thumb bisexual and I own it so much. I'm just bad at plants.
That's
Like
fair.
I will never be a plant witch and like I love them, but like I can kill a succulent. Like
They're hardy, they're drought resistant, and yet you find a way.
I just like, and I follow the exact rule. Like, they're like, this is how, like I
Like
could have,
measure out the water.
yes. And I just like cannot keep them alive. And I have come to a point in my life where I'm like, okay, I, I will be I will not pursue this because it just makes me sad.
It's just not in the it's
Not in
not
the
in the cards
cards.
for
It's
you.
just really not. It's only in the cards. The only way that I can have,
Literally.
it's just the cards. I think that I think he's very musical.
Ooh.
I think it's music. I think it's like one of those like hasn't met an instrument that you can't at least figure out a little bit.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's excellent.
Oof. Hey, now we get to create the bond that we have with each other,
Cool.
which is exciting. So, if we were to play this solo, you would be writing a letter to a pen pal. And then that pen pal, you would get to create completely on your own. Like, this is the person, this is how I met them, and this is, the sort of relationship that we have. But because there are two of us, we get to decide all of those things together. Just need to scroll to the right page where all of those prompts are. Beep, 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 beep. I went too far. I got excited.
Scroll too
I
fast.
just was like, this is going to be so great. La, 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 la. Okay. When we were younger, we met each other. We were each from families that are similar, and we made friends. We still keep in contact to this day. So there's a couple of questions that we have to find out. First, how did we meet? Was there like a camp situation?
That's what I'm like, or like if family was technically around like some kind of like a hiking camping situation
Mm,
where like you bring your family to hike X amount of distance and then you can take a picture with the giant cutout of a
like a national monument sort of situation. So
exactly.
not like camping as opposed to
Mm-mm.
okay. Okay. Um all right. So hmm.
How are you feeling about that?
No, I love that. I think it's the idea that like how old were we when we met each other? You think?
Probably pretty young.
Like 8?
8.
Yeah. Yeah. Because that's such a like little kid thing to do of just like I have been in your presence for
Like,
20 minutes and like oh but no we're friends
yep,
now.
here's my address.
Write me a letter.
Can't wait to
Yeah.
talk.
Yes. Wild. Yeah, I love that. So
What was the monument? Because that'll kind of be
oh
like the pinnacle of like if we were to reminisce upon that, it'd be like remember when we hiked to see the giant
I really love
uh,
the idea of it being something ridiculous
yeah,
like the world's largest ball of twine or something
something in
stupid like
that
that.
lane. Yeah, what is appealing to a family of werewolves? Like
Oh,
like squeaky toy that still squeaks.
um,
uh
or is there like a like a wolf statue that's like carved into the side of a mountain or something?
Ooh.
You know,
Oh, that's
like
so boring for kids, but like adults
yeah,
love
they
it.
would love that.
History.
Oh yeah, no, go do whatever you want. It's great. You know, like
Love it. I think
yeah,
that's the
yeah.
best thing that we'd be going to see in like zero interest
Because
in
they would
that.
just wander off. Like I'm so
Gonna go skip rocks.
this is probably maybe even like a yearly pilgrimage for
I
like
think for our
Penny's family.
families,
Like, and
or at
this
least for a
year it
few more
happened to
years.
like line up the two. Oh my God.
I love
This
that.
sounds terribly boring.
To look at the carving in the side of a mountain.
Gross.
Trying to think of like it would be we need like a nice majestic um I can't help but go towards like really silly like Barkington or uh
Yeah, no, that's great. Let's go there. Because maybe that's not what it's actually called, but that's like how we referred to it as kids. Because
mhm.
it's probably some very fancy name, and we were like, no, you know, whatever, the Barkington or whatever,
That's what we hear, yeah.
right? Yeah.
Barkington, cute.
That's also funny because I have spent the majority of my life just mishearing everything because
Oh,
I
you
have,
too?
well, I have structural hearing loss in my right ear.
Oh,
And so, and I didn't really realize it until I was an adult, that that is what was going on. But so many of our little like inside jokes as like a long-term relationship couple with my husband and I is because I misheard something that he said. And so I'm like, I just assume that's what it is. Um,
that's very relatable. I'm really enthusiastic sometimes when I have small talk with people, but I don't hear very well. I'm yet to diagnose it, like
mm-hmm.
professionally. I'm just happy not really knowing. But a lot of the time, that means people are saying things to me. I'm looking at their eyes. I'm trying to read their lips. Not a clue, but I will smile and nod. And then find out I should not have smiled and nodded in that
Oh no.
situation.
Oh
Really try to
no.
gauge the reactions and it tells you whether or not like oh I really should have tried to have listened just a little bit
Ooh.
harder.
Yeah. Yeah. I yep. Um I have to strategically seat myself in like restaurants and stuff. Otherwise, there's nothing. I can just like, well, I should just lean back because it's gone. I can hear nothing. Pew,
Yeah.
pew, pew. Love
Heck.
it. Okay, here's a question that we have to answer about the other person.
Okay.
Why are you envious of them?
I think your family dynamic, the front of it, like the facade of it seems lovely. You live on a farm, like your family like cooks breakfast, you eat dinner together maybe.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Like very stereotypical family things exist within your dynamics. And that's so lovely. I'm so envious.
Yeah.
Ra just does not have that.
But from Penny's side, I really think that like it feels like your life is an adventure.
It writes like an
It's
adventure.
so boring here. But you have like all of these amazing things that you do. You know, like once a month everybody goes to a cavern. That's so cool. We don't do anything, you know, like it feels like you have exciting things happening to and around you. And like I think Panny feels very bumpkin-y
Aw.
when he talks to you because like just got up on the farm again today.
You don't take a boat to your cavern to transform.
No, like the family home is on the property. Like we just it like
Just do
walk
it
there.
there.
Like it's
Weird.
so yeah, yeah. It's just nothing,
Huh.
you know?
Neighbors? Do you worry about neighbors, or is your farm really like really
It's
out
like
there?
middle of nowhere, surrounded by farmland. Our nearest neighbor is probably 2 or 3 miles away at minimum. And it's
Nice.
just another farm family.
Hmm.
And, you know, I don't know that we know if they're werewolves or not, but they sure do leave us alone. So,
Huh. That's nice. I think I probably live in the
huh.
city, you know?
Yeah, like you live, yeah, I would imagine. Where is the cavern? You mentioned having to take a boat to the cavern. Like, is this like, are
Yeah.
you
So I mean,
like
if
bayou swampy
I
caverns
was
or
thinking if I could pull from like I guess real life. If my family lives in, we'll say, Toronto, Ontario,
okay.
there are like on one of the Great Lakes, there's an island. It's just called Center Island, but we're gonna put a cave on there now. It's a
Yeah,
nice cave, only accessible by water.
perfect. Yeah. And then again to draw on art imitating life, I think my family is from the Midwest. I think it is very flat here. And we grow a lot of corn. And yeah, it's not a lot happening.
Not a lot of variety.
Not a lot. Okay. So here we go. Beep 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 beep. So we have built our characters, we have created the bonds that we have with each other. And at this point, like we have known each other for like almost 25 years. That's a
Yeah.
long time. How often have we seen each other in person?
Ooh. I would say every couple of years, probably.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we try to make it every other year, but the way life kind of gets in the way, it's ended up being more like every 4-ish
This
years.
is, oh, the joys of being an adult and trying to schedule anything.
Right? With other adults? No, not happening.
Okay. Okay. Um, and how recently has that been since the last time we saw each other?
I mean, it's always more interesting if it's been a little while since
Been
we've
a
seen
while.
each other, like 5 years. We'll say it's been five
Oof.
years.
Yeah. We really wanted to get together the year that we both turned 30, but it just like didn't work out.
So hard to make it work.
Ugh.
And we're only like 5 to
It's
10
not
hours away.
it's not far.
Hmm.
Listen, I feel like it's all too real currently. Like the amount of like people that I know and like play games with and tell stories with that I'm like, you're really in the grand scheme of things not that far away. And
Right?
yet I
Never
don't
see them in person.
I only see you in this little box on my computer. Sadness.
uh, Grateful
All
we
right.
have this, though, you know?
Right, right. Okay, here we go. We are going to dive into the actual game. Unless, I mean, let's see, how long have we been going? Okay, half an hour. Not bad. I
Nice.
don't are you good? We don't need to bio break. We're
Yeah,
okay.
no, I'm golden. I'm gonna get a playlist going, whatever. I'm trying
Oh
to think what the
yeah.
mood is. It
Oh.
almost feels sad already, even though like we haven't even started
Haven't
any of the
started
dialogue.
anything.
I'm just gonna look
It
for a
it might
sad
be a little
playlist.
sad. Just a tiny bit.
Okay, I am ready.
All right. Here we go. So, a couple of things that we get to establish when we are doing these prompts, and I am just going to let us, because I think we have the time for it. I think we're going to each do one prompt in each section. Just feels good to have us each do a prompt.
I like
Okay,
that.
so we get to establish whoever goes first. So I'm going to have you go first in the first one. You'll get to decide like how old we are in the prompt.
Okay.
And then okay, here we go. Here we go. Heading down to the werewolf. We're doing werewolf first. The sections are werewolf, gender, and then family.
Got it. Okay.
Okay. So for the first one, the women of your family, Ra, have a certain way of talking about their changing bodies. What about this makes you think you might have some common ground with them? And who have you shared these thoughts with? So we can do this in the form of a little scene. And I'll play the other people. And
Mhm.
the idea is that you are writing about this encounter that has happened to your friend Panny. Who are you talking to at this moment?
I think I have an older sister. Um, she was the planned child.
Oh,
So
and you were not.
yeah,
Got it.
yeah. There's like probably 10 years, we'll say 8 years of difference between us.
Okay.
So we've never connected to begin with, just because of that vast age difference and being kids.
Yeah.
And then at this point, I guess so, we'll say that this is taking place. I mean, if I had my first werewolf transformation at 15, let's say this is, I'm 16 or 17.
Okay, so post first transformation.
Yeah.
But pretty fresh after.
Yeah. Had like how many full moons do we have? Is there like one every month? Is that a stupid question?
There is one. Yeah, there's one a month, sometimes two a month, which is why the blue moon situation, it's the cycle is of every 28-ish days.
Okay.
And so there's usually around 12 or 13 in a year.
Okay. Yeah, no, it's a lot of suffering. It's a lot of time to experience this frustrating and wretched and unwelcome transformation. I don't like the process. I don't like how I look after. I don't particularly care how I feel. However, I think this is a scene that Monstera is writing to you about their second transformation.
Okay.
And my family and I, we took our private boat, or I guess you just call it a boat when you own it.
Sure.
to Center Island and to our little cave. And like I when you first said cave, when we were kind of figuring out our land and whatnot, I'm like, ew, caves are like moist and wet and like they're slippery and like they kind of
Mm-hmm.
smell bad. But as we built up the character and the family, I think this cave has torches and twinkle lights. The walls are like meticulously cleaned by who? I don't know. There's like a lovely covering of moss
Hmm.
on most of the surfaces towards the ground. So like you're less likely to slip. And most of the sharp rocks have been like smoothed down by again, it's just I don't know who. It's always been that way. Uh, and it's just Monstera, their sister, and their mother this full moon. We are surrounded by flickering torchlight. And I'm trying to think like what is an activity I imagine we do, or do we just sit around and talk?
Is this in the lead up, the scene that you are conveying, it's the lead up to the transformation, right? Like it's the
Yeah.
before. Um, yeah, I don't, and you have chosen very intolerant and do not want to change. Do your mother and your sister call you by a different name? Or, I mean, they definitely use she, her pronouns for you, I would
Yeah.
imagine. Is there, and And if we do this scene, are you, B, comfortable with me essentially dead naming your character?
Thank you for asking. And for this scene, yes.
Okay.
I'm trying to think of a alternative name. I mean, Monstera is such a badass name. Like, how
It's
do I go
such a
backwards?
badass name. Yeah. I mean, did Monstera choose some because it started with an M? Are they maybe um in the hopes of like softening it that for their family of like, well, if I change it to this other one, it at least starts with the same and it'll be easier for you to remember kind of a thing. Like, is that
I
something that
think
would have gone through their mind or
if they had a family that would have been open to that kind of gentle change, then maybe I think their name was Aloe before. We're going with the
hello.
plant theme. I've got an
Yeah,
aloe plant
let's
over
go.
there. You know, when you compare the two, I mean, Monstera is just so much more
It's
powerful.
really cool. Really like it. Um,
So yeah, I think maybe we're all sitting around. I
and
want
what
there
is
to be a fire in this cave. You can't have fires in caves. Like that's bad.
will you
Like big fires.
maybe there's a vent up top,
It's
you
our
know?
cave.
It's your
Absolutely.
cave. You can make it however you want. So
Perfect.
yeah, there's a vent. So you can have fire in one spot because there's a vent above.
Mm-hmm.
And what is your sister's name?
What's another type of succulent? Like we've got an aloe. I don't know aloe plant names. You want to
That's
pull a
okay.
card?
I can pull a card. Yeah. Let's pull a card. Da, 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 da. Language of flowers. I don't know
Mm-hmm.
who made this deck, but they're getting a lot of good stuff. All right, let's find out. All right. Well, the first one I drew was Sweet Pea, which is kind of funny.
Perfect. Wow, that first kid really got the best name
It
too.
really did.
Here's Sweet Pea, and there's Aloe.
Aloe.
Ugh.
And do you want to do the same thing for mom? Should we draw a card to see what mom's name is?
Yes, please.
Oh, this is interesting. Grevillea,
Ooh.
which is which stands for in this deck, creation.
How very motherly.
Very motherly.
Gravilia. My
Grevillea.
pen is dying.
And so both of them make no effort you think?
I think Gravilia might have a little bit more understanding, but due to whatever these traditions that she really thinks that the family is bound to,
Mm-hmm.
that she still feels that she has to adhere to, those old fashioned norms rather than respecting her own child.
Super. We, all right, let's give it a go. You're sitting around. Maybe there's a chatting, like, I would imagine that it's probably the closer that you get to the transformation, you probably shouldn't be doing a lot of stuff. So there's
Yeah.
probably like a quiet, I'm going to sit here and
There's also the uncomfortable, like, you don't want to ruin your clothes. So you
so
have
you're all just
to.
sitting around naked.
Yep. And like that, probably the worst.
Mm-hmm.
I imagine Monstera is like huddled up, arms around knees, just in the smallest shape possible.
Just
And yeah,
huddled.
waiting because the transformation, I think with that little hole now that we have in the ceiling of this cavern, it's really waiting. We're just waiting for that moon
Yep.
to shine through.
Yeah. All right. So the three of you are, is it just the three of you? That's it, right?
I think
There's,
for this one, yeah,
that's
keep it
okay.
simple.
Um, I think maybe other female family members are traveling or doing other things at this particular time. Perhaps they have married out and are, you know, they've
They've gone
sort
to
of
other.
moved on and found other places. Probably come back at once a year, twice a year, big
Oh yeah,
things. But this time it's just the three of you. And I think uh Sweet Pea is probably like done up. I don't know how you feel about that, but
oh,
like
it's appropriate.
I think she did her hair and makeup
Yep.
and like painted her nails and her toenails and like is so proper looking. Just like a vision of feminine beauty. Worked really hard on it. Just like sitting there and I think your mother is probably like kind of fawning over her a bit
Yeah.
and then looks over at you and is like, you know, Aloe, you could be so pretty if you just like put in a little bit of effort. Honestly.
Pretty for who? Who do I have to be pretty for?
Well, for everyone, for yourself. Wouldn't that feel nice? Like, I don't know what you did with your hair. It's like you chopped it off weird. Like, you could just, I mean, look at your sister. Look in the curls, and you have all of the same genes, and you just don't try.
I shouldn't have to try for something I don't want to be
Well, why don't you want to be pretty?
because that's not how I see myself. I see myself as strong, as confident, as independent. Not really anything that Sweet Pea is.
Oh, you don't think that I am strong? I outlift you every time we're in wolf form.
I'm getting stronger though. I'm getting there. I mean, it's awesome that you're so strong, and I think it's kind of the only cool thing about you.
Thank you, I guess.
Yeah, you're welcome. Um, I think they'll like turn away awkwardly, having to kind of really mull on that, never having complimented Sweet Pea
Mm.
intentionally.
Oh,
We've got a really fraught relationship.
just rough, just really rough between the two of you. Yeah. And she like scoots over. You hear kind of a shuffling between muffled whispers between mom and sister of like,
Mhm.
I don't want to do it. You do it. And and then and then Soupy like shuffles over to you and is like, okay, listen, I brought grandma's comb. And she pulls out this like beautiful hand carved comb like probably out of bone, I would say.
Yeah.
Just, I know that like it doesn't matter, but I just thought like I could do your hair while we waited for the moon to come because then you'd be, like presentable for
For the moon,
the
the mosquitoes, the stars.
transformation. It's a gift, Aloe. Like, why are you hiding yourself from it? We should be embracing it. It's part of who we are.
I'm not trying to hide. I'm just trying to figure out why it makes me feel so awful.
You don't want to be a wolf.
I don't think so. I don't like I don't like the transformation. I don't like how it's just women. How how are they the ones that only experience this painful and intense transformation, but you don't ever get to share it with anybody else? It's just like
You don't
other
get to
women.
share it with your family.
It's not what I mean. It doesn't feel right, and you don't get it. You don't get it.
And I think it's at this point that like the moon, like she's in the process of trying to answer you, probably to call you stupid
Yes.
again. And the moon comes in and like how is your transformation? How does that happen?
Trying to think of like all the werewolf transformations I've seen. I mean, I love the really it's kind of horrendous, like with the bones crack and everything inside of you
Lengthens
stretches,
and
and yeah, it looks
yeah.
so painful and it sounds so horrible and crunchy, but like it's so badass.
Yeah, it really is. Yeah. And so that happens, and the three of you kind of stand around and look at each other for a moment. And like weirdly, I think Sweet Pea as a wolf is like really pretty. Like,
Mm-hmm.
like it you shouldn't be able to tell, but like
There's
somehow
just
the what she put into herself, the doing of the hair, and maybe it's some kind of ritual or something. But she just like looks very feminine, which is wild. And you like look over at your mom and she also looks very feminine, obviously older, but like
like
you
regal
can,
femininity.
yeah, you can like see it. And how do you see yourself? How do you see, like, what do
Uh,
you look like as a wolf?
I think I'm hunched over more.
Mm,
And it's very much that kind of pulling into oneself. So scraggly. So, and I don't know if I'm like quite matted yet, but definitely
mm,
scraggly. Um, the talons are a little bit too long.
mm,
Um, I'm trying to think of like my eyes might be, they're just not as clear. They're a little foggy.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And it's just, it doesn't feel
Are
like
you a
my true self.
are you a werewolf who stands on their hind legs, or do you?
Yeah.
Okay,
I love the hind legs. So it's like their funny little shape, like,
so but
mm,
really hunched with you, like you're
yeah.
not standing up. Is
Yeah, there's
it?
no regalness.
Do you think at all that because of how much you dislike your form and that you like that's like projecting as to why your like coat is not nice?
Absolutely. You just like again, like that sense of you look at my mother and my sister and the like the royalty, like that sense of presence.
Mm,
It exudes from them. And your eyes would almost glance right by Monstera. You wouldn't even see them because the lack of confidence, not feeling comfortable as
mm.
themselves. Yeah, it really emanates from their little hunched over form.
Oh, I already want to hug Monstera.
Right.
Let's go hug. Let's go hug him. How do you wrap up your letter to Penny?
um I think the last little bit is the description of how it made Raw feel And I take the time to kind of describe how I see myself as well.
Hmm.
And then I think it'll be, I think they'll ask a question. You've been transforming for longer than I have, Penny. What is it like for you? I just, you're the only one who's ever understood how I feel and been kind to my vulnerability. Thank you. P.S. Uh, I watched that TV show you told me about. It was awesome.
Yay. I wonder which one it was. We were 17 at the time. So that was like,
What I'm trying to think of like OG werewolf shows. I'm gonna Google.
oh yeah.
I've never watched Teen Wolf or anything. Like that's new-ish. Old werewolf movies. Oh, I don't know any of these. The Wolf Man. There's so many.
It's a lot of them.
Wow. Oh my God. Teen Wolf from 1985.
Yes.
Oh, that's great. There's 94. Yeah, so many, so much wolf content.
Wolf
Wow.
content.
What a great timeline we live in.
Um, okay. So I think in my response that I will tell you about something that happened to me, but then also I'll sort of,
We'll go through the scene.
yeah, I think the beginning of the letter is telling you like how much I love being in wolf form. It's really the only time that I ever feel comfortable. And that is what I wish I could always do. I think that Panny's wolf form is an all fours, just like a giant wolf, like a dire wolf kind of thing.
Yes.
And they feel really strong, and nobody can tell what his gender is, and they love that, and like would be in wolf form all the time if they could. Which is interesting because the prompt that I have for this is though it is possible for the women to transform outside of the full moon, there are consequences for doing so.
Oh, dang.
Are these consequences social, physical, or something else? Which member of your family transforms as she pleases, regardless?
Oh, oh, that is such a great question.
I think that the consequences are social. I think that we're not supposed to. You do it at the full moon in the family home only, because then we can guarantee that nobody who is a non-werewolf will see you. And I think Panny wants to just like run around as a giant dog on the farm all the time. And I think that he has an aunt. Let's see what her name is. Beep, beep, beep. Jade.
Ooh, very nice.
Standing for communication, interestingly enough. Jade legitimately is almost always in wolf form. Like,
wow, Aunt Jade.
Yeah, just turns into a human when she absolutely has to, but otherwise is just always in wolf form. And so I think I probably got in trouble because around 16, 17, because I just like stayed in it. I keep sneaking out of the house.
Oh my goodness.
And going full wolf and like broad daylight, just not caring. And like, we don't have a lot of neighbors, but I think probably somebody came by to like drop something off or help with something and caught me as a wolf. And I think I'm probably getting a talking to by my mother. And Jade has turned back into a human for this conversation.
I love that. Does your
So
mother have a name?
let's look her up. Rose.
Aw.
Beep beep. I would imagine that in this family dynamic where the women turn into werewolves, that like they're probably the ones in charge.
Absolutely.
It's my guess. Uh,
Especially if
because
you do it in your own household, like they are running the household and their portion of the world.
correct. Yeah. Okay. So I
You're
think
being
I
scolded. Mhm.
yeah, I think I snuck back in. I think I turned back into a human and like hastily dressed like behind the barn. And then I'm just like sneaking back in and trying not to get caught sneaking in the house.
This is definitely going to be one of those times where the like your mom or Rose was sitting in the dark in a chair waiting for you to like creep inside, and then as soon as you were indoors, she pulls the little chain and the light turns on, and there is Rose sitting on one of those like large elegant chaise lounges with Jade slouched over another chair.
I would imagine that Jade is in wolf form so much that like sitting up is probably really hard.
A weird feeling, yeah. A lot of her natural like body language is very wolfish.
Yeah. Okay. Just like mm,
And where have you been?
just taking a jog.
In wolf form? I smell that. I smell that fur.
Just wanted to stretch, but nobody saw me. I just wanted to stretch my legs. So
Nobody saw you. Do you know what happened last time you said nobody saw you? The male person saw you and called animal control, and it was a whole thing.
right, but like they didn't find anything because then I
You what? You
changed.
continue to do this?
It's not a big deal. It's not a
It
big deal.
is a big deal. Do you want to end up like your aunt? And she'll gesture to like, I don't even know, like, how would a dog sit on a chair?
I've seen a dog
Poorly.
sit on a chair. Sort of like probably hands down, like they were, yeah, like on
It's
its
an
haunches kind of
odd
a thing.
thing to see in a human, but I can
Sure.
translate that into
Mm-hmm.
like this really like cramped sitting, but making it work. Um, and Rose will, or excuse me, Jade is the aunt. I gotta write that down.
Yes.
Aunt Jade. Um, and Jade is just gonna like shrug, like, I think I got it great. Things aren't so bad.
Yeah, I think that would be great. I'd rather be like Aunt Jade. Aunt Jade is happy.
Mm-hmm. Spend most of my time alone, running from everything, family, feelings, nothing can catch me.
Hmm.
And Rose's like nostrils will flare. I will not let you end up like that. You are a responsible member of this family. You are so capable and so smart. You just need to make better choices.
You just want me to be you. You just want me to go out and marry some submissive husband and start my own farm where I make more werewolf babies, and I'm not going to do that.
That's exactly what I want for you. Why would I want anything less?
Why would I want that for me?
That's happiness. That is
not.
what your future should hold.
I am never going to have babies, Mom. We have talked about this.
You must continue our family. It is up to you.
Why? Why does it have to be me?
Because what else will you do with your life if you don't have pups? if you don't have children?
I could have my music and I can make things another way. Why you you don't care what I want? You've never cared what I wanted. Never cared.
I only care for your happiness and your safety. And that means something very specific, not gallivanting out at night in wolf form when we have neighbors who have been calling animal control. I will not be treated like that. We are better than that.
No, well, maybe you are.
I think that's probably Aunt Jade would laugh
Oh yeah.
at that as well.
Oh, Aunt Jade.
um, Rose will kind of like, or your mom will throw her hands up in frustration, get up
Sure.
and storm away, leaving just you and Aunt Jade in the living room with the one lamp on, kind of creating the only source of light and a lot of heavy shadows. And she'll like slink and slide off the chair and sit down onto the ground. So, you think you want to just stay in wolf form more often?
Just feels like who I am.
You got to give a lot up, you know, if that's how you want to live.
What do you mean?
It's harder to maintain friendships, hobbies, specific interests beyond hunting, surviving, and running. Because those three things feel amazing, but you forget a lot of the other passions, like you turning pages in books and putting those things over your ears when they make lots of sounds.
Hmm.
You think you can give that up?
Isn't it worth it to feel like who I actually am supposed to be?
I think so. I mean, your mom will never tell me that, but I don't think she's ever let herself feel really happy. You need to be free. And sometimes that means letting go of the things that were important to you.
Hmm. I feel like I would wrap the letter with, I don't know, maybe Aunt Jade wants me to run away. That's what I
Yeah.
am feeling. But like, there's a big part of me that wants to do it, but I'm afraid I'm not able to get there yet. But like, who knows? Maybe one day I'll show up on your doorstep. I have your address.
Yeah.
Like, love Panny.
Oh, that's so good.
All right, let's I'm gonna have you do an interlude.
Ooh.
And here's what the interlude is. Um and I don't think it's a scene. I think this is just like explaining what is happening to you.
Okay.
You have repeatedly tried to have conversations with someone in your family about the way they misgender you. Do you think it's a lost cause? And at what point do you think you stop trying?
Um, I mean, yeah, I think it would be Ra's sister, Sweet Pea.
Mm.
And it's just like the constant disrespect in so many forms. There's the misgendering, there's just like the general unkindness, the need to constantly correct and fix. It's the fixing.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing. Ra doesn't think there's anything to fix, and yet Sweet Pea won't stop trying to find ways to fix them. And having to come to terms with that disconnect and understanding that Sweet Pea will just never use Monstero's real name.
Mm. When did you stop trying?
Probably not long after that last transformation.
Mm.
That feels like a pretty good breaking point.
Yeah. Yeah. Because even in her moments of like a
Like
a trying to be kind. It
Mm-hmm.
was all about like, let me
Let me
fix
brush your
you so that you
hair.
don't embarrass us as a
Yeah.
fam. Like,
Doesn't feel
not
good.
doesn't doesn't feel great, as it turns out. Cool. Um,
Do you have
okay.
an interlude question?
Oh, I could have an interlude question. Two family members who used to get along once got into a fight about you. Their relationship is now strained. When did you stop blaming yourself for this falling out?
That's so perfect.
Yeah. I actually think so. I think Aunt Jade is from my dad's side. I think they are both werewolf lines. And I
Mm-hmm.
think my dad and my mom had a lot of big fights about me. About, I think my dad genders me properly when he is talking to me, and
Mm-hmm.
he calls me by the shortened form of my name, which is more comfortable for me because the long form, I think, is too feminine for me. Um, and I think the biggest fight was probably like, just let them be in wolf form instead of trying to stop them from being a wolf. Let's figure out how to give it to them safely.
Mm.
You know, we can build a fence. We can find an area. Like we can like, we can figure out a way to do it. And probably my mother was like,
Mm-mm.
absolutely not. Like we're not gonna do that.
It's also not the plan that she has for you.
It's not done. Like, yeah. I think I think Rose is already like reaching out to other werewolf families who have male heirs of approximately the same age ish,
Yep.
and like trying to find a way to like continue that line. Yeah. So
Ooh.
um I think I think I was like an adult when I stopped blaming myself for them fighting. Like
Wow.
I think I was probably like in my early 20s before I finally was like, nope, that wasn't my fault. Cause I think I probably internalized a lot and was like, if I had just been better,
Aw.
their marriage wouldn't have been so strained, and like, yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
sweet child.
I
I
know.
just want to take you and a
Just
hug and
want
be like,
to
it's
hug
not your
both of them.
fault.
They both need hugs
Oh,
so much.
seriously.
Um, yeah. Okay. All right. I think we've been going for about an hour. Let's take a quick bio break, and then
Sounds
we'll
good.
come back and we'll do our last couple of, and then yeah. I mean,
Do you want to do so for the next? Because there's two scenes each technically. Do we want to do
mhm.
like one scene? Like, how do I describe that?
One and one kind of a
Yeah.
thing. Um, yeah, maybe. Let's see what happens.
Okay.
I'll keep an eye on that time. But you friends at home, come back in about 5 to 10 minutes. I don't know what kind of snacks a werewolf eats. Probably jerky of some kind. So go grab some jerky, and I'll see you in a couple minutes. Okay, bye. Welcome back from the break. It's just like big hands. These aren't really like jazz hands. They're
They're
like
not. They're
firework
like
hands. Pew, pew.
like surprise hands. I don't know.
Surprise, surprise. Pew, pew, pew. All right. For those of you who are maybe just joining us, we are playing Women Are Werewolves, and we spent some time doing all the prompts for the werewolf section, and we are now going to do some gender section stuff. And we were chatting on the break, and we decided that this is maybe too big of a story to do in one 2 to 2.5 hour game and do it justice. We didn't want to rush these last two sections. We wanted to really give them the weight and the time they deserved. So lucky you people at home, we're going to do a second session of this, and we're going to finish it all out so that we have a lot of time. So next week we'll do it again. Be great. Okay, so let's come back to Ra.
Okay.
We're sweet Ra. And I would love for us to flash forward to adulthood.
Yeah.
So where do you think you are at time-wise for this particular one? We said we were 32. So where in the adulthood do you think you were at?
10 years later. So
27-ish.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, so on your 27th birthday, you were gifted a photo album from your family containing pictures of you throughout your life.
Ugh.
How do you feel looking at your younger self, and what do you think the intention of the gift was? And I am going to say that all of the photos that they chose, very female. I think you probably had to wear a dress as a bridesmaid to Sweet Pea's wedding. I think that there was Christmas card situations where you were dressed in a very feminine, stereotypical feminine way. How did they do your hair when you were too young to do it yourself?
I think it was put up in a lot of bows. So a lot of ponytails and bright pink, orange, yellow, red bows.
Yeah. And there's a bunch of them in there.
Ugh.
How do you look? What are your expressions in these photos? Do you look happy in any of them?
Oh no. There's a moment where I think Ra is looking through these photos and I think was I an angry child looking at all of the scowling, the frowning, the arms crossed, a lot of looking down. And that thought is quickly dissolved by the reminder that no, I wasn't angry. I didn't look or feel like myself growing up. I was always in this skin that didn't feel right, in a space that wasn't safe or welcoming. And wow, I guess it reflected a lot more, kind of flipping through so many of these photos.
Are you in wolf form in any of them?
Oh, probably. And that's probably there's a pang, that feeling that your chest does where you're that's what I look like. Is that how people truly saw me? That curled into themselves, raggedy, shaggy, just gloomy.
Trying so hard to be small so that no one will see you.
Yeah, but I don't have a small wolf body.
No.
We come from a very strong family. And I mean, that reflected genetically. It's just, there were so many parts that weren't right. And just so sad to look at it again.
Why do you think they gave you this as your birthday present?
27 years old. Definitely back at the family condo, not too far from our cavern. And tensions haven't been too bad. the
Hmm.
past few years, but receiving this, there's that like wretched feeling of, are they giving this to me because they're trying to subtly tell me like we missed you the way you used to be, or
Mm.
is it like an insult? Is it like, remember this isn't how you look now, you are, I mean, I like to think that Raw is a very different, and everything that they wanted to be, they've worked to become.
Yeah.
And that probably meant not visiting family a lot, except for big events like birthdays.
Hmm.
Um,
How do you are still transforming. I think the conceit is that you have to transform on the full moon, but that
mhm.
you could choose to do it at other times. So you were still transforming.
Yep.
Yes. What do
Yep.
you do? Where do you go for that now?
I think that there are communities, and I don't know how they call it, like a club. Club
Mm.
always sounds like a little juvenile, but like communities
Hmm.
for supernatural folk that don't really feel, I mean, like for trans and
Hmm.
the
Hmm.
queer of the supernatural world. And I've met so many people that have gone through something similar, but I've never met another werewolf that is going through what I think I'm going through, which is why I value like my pen pal relationship so desperately.
So you like stay in the city then during
Yeah,
it. Do you like lock yourself away during the transformation or is it,
I think
yeah.
so. There's like a I'm trying to think like what else the room would be used for. It's like the prayer room.
Mm.
It's very like it's sparsely decorated. There's a couple of like mats locked away, and then I just go hang out in there. And sometimes they have to replace the water cooler, but beyond that, it's
Yeah.
not so
Do
bad.
you
It's
get violent when you would have transformed? Or is it just your size and strength that you just like are still trying to figure out?
I think it's size and strength. I have, what is the word? There's like that fear of working so hard to be recognized as they are in their human form,
Hmm.
that when they transform they feel like it's undone a lot of that. Sure, there's things that they really appreciate, like the broad chest and shoulders, amazing strength, fabulous,
Super good.
right? But whenever they stand up on their hind legs, like they project this air of feminine,
Mm.
uh what did I call it before?
Like like a regalness, like a grace
Yeah,
almost.
grace. I like that. Yeah. And they have a hard time reconciling that because that's not what they want to project.
Hmm.
They just don't know how to exist as a werewolf and not do that still. But they've got their humanness pretty under control.
So this is a time I'm going to say that your birthday this year doesn't fall on a full moon, and
Okay.
so we're not changing. Although, is it a tradition in your family to also change on birthdays or
I think
like special
so.
occasions?
Yeah. Because there's something very carnal about wanting to celebrate as we are meant to be.
Mm-hmm. So I'm going to say there's probably a lot of people in. I think your sister at this point probably has several children.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe two of them even are girls, and then she has a couple of boys. It also, I think, because it feels like, I don't know. I don't think that Ross family are great people. Um, so I feel like your sister kept going till she had girls, kind of a thing. Like maybe she's
Yeah.
got like six kids and four of them are boys, and then she had a girl and was like, one more, we're gonna have this another girl, and like, like
Mm-hmm.
um, because that's what she values, you know?
Yeah.
And I think probably everybody treats the the female offspring just
Like their royalty.
better. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, and so I think probably all of the gifts that you got are very lady
Gendered.
adjacent. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm trying to imagine like within this universe, like what do we have as gendered things? And like we've got bows, so many bows.
So many bows.
There's an outfit for next year's Christmas, or this year's Christmas photos.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Mm-hmm.
like a
Big and
velvet,
floofy.
yeah, yeah, like a velvet fur lined jacket.
Mm-hmm.
Um Not Santa red, but like a crimson. Well, maybe you'll go like a what is Santa red? Like a rose red? It's a lighter
Mm.
version of that. So it's
Sure.
yeah, but
Yeah.
it's horrible. I don't want
It's
it. I
not
don't like
you.
it.
Right.
Mm-mm.
So you just have like a bunch of everything is I think maybe even like your sister gave you like a spa day, like you can go and like we're gonna get your hair and your nails done and somebody's gonna do something with your brows and like we're gonna really just maybe you even got like earrings even if you're don't have pierced ears, it doesn't matter
Never
because
have.
that's
Hmm.
we're gonna adorn you with all of these girly things.
Yeah,
um
it's a tough birthday. That
yeah.
is, and like being surrounded by all these family who are projecting their expectations. Even I don't think I even feel comfortable in my human form, where
Yeah.
like you said, we've got a bunch of family who are in their wolf form because that's what's expected.
Hmm.
I'm not. And
Yeah.
it's awkward.
And people keep asking you why you aren't. And it's the males in your family because everybody else is in their like after they've given you the
Yeah.
gift, then the males are like, why aren't you changing? You need to go. We made sure everything was safe for the night. So
Yeah. Yeah. Thanks. It's awesome. I think I feel good like this.
yeah, but like it's like your uncle thinks that it's because you don't trust him, so he's getting pretty upset. Like it's obviously like some
It's
kind of problem.
it's not nothing to do with anybody. It's just like a completely myself thing. I'm really proud of how far I've come as me as Ra, and transforming into a wolf. It undoes some of that. I would be nice to spend time with family as the version of myself that I really feel.
Yeah,
Is that
but like that you can't go. We can't like finish up the celebration until you've gone full wolf and then they can do the thing and everybody does the howling at the moon and they groom you and this is like I don't
yeah.
understand why you're holding it up like
I
the
was just
little ones want to
thinking
get in bed and they have to see everything and
maybe we could do it differently this year.
we, we don't do things differently. That's
It's my
we've
birthday though.
but we've got look at your nieces like they need to see this is what we do.
I think they do need to see this and they need to see me not transform. Whether or not that makes sense to you, I don't think it needs to because it'll mean a lot to them, whether or not they realize it later on in life.
I think this whoever this was probably one of your uncles or if you have
Yeah, I'm getting like
brothers or
an uncle
something.
vibe.
Like kind of throws his hands up and like I can't talk to her, like says it loudly. Like she just doesn't get it. She doesn't understand what's happening, emphasizing she and her and like
Yeah.
really loudly doing it and wanders off. Um, somebody else can try, but I guess like she doesn't care if her nieces stay up till all hours because we have to all do this. It's fine. Um,
So and like they're gonna I think I have a cup. Oh, they're gonna like do the spoon or
mhm.
whatever cutlery you have and tap it against the glass. Thanks, Uncle, for getting everybody's attention. If I could just have everybody looking over here. Yes, right at me. Thank you. So thank you everybody for coming to my birthday. It's been it has been but I just need to reestablish some of the ground rules and some of my expectations that I set when everybody first joined here. My pronouns are they, them. My name is Monstera. You can call me Ra for short. And I am not transforming tonight. We can still do everything else, but I feel so happy as myself. I want to be this way with my family. And they'll put the cup down and maybe like step off the chair that they stood on to get everybody's attention.
I feel like, and you can stop me if this goes too far, but I feel like perhaps your mother changes back into a human and is just like openly weeping. And I think that this turns into like a big fight. And I think that
that's probably how it ends.
I think somebody kicks you out.
Yeah.
Don't come back unless you're gonna respect your mother and this family, and how dare you. And like, yeah, I think you are left standing outside, like holding this book. And like
the book and the horrible coat.
Just like slamming the door in your face. Big words, big declarations.
Yep. And I'm going to drop the book and the coat and leave.
Oof. Is that the last time you saw your family?
Yes.
So it's been 5 years
since then. And this is also a letter to, my
Penny. Yeah.
It'll end with, then I think, and I have not seen my family since. Believe it or not, I couldn't be happier. Hope you've been doing well. I mailed you some, I'm trying to think of like garden adjacent. Mailed you some lemon bars with lavender from my garden.
Oh,
lots of love, Ra.
Yummy. I want some of those.
Right?
Oh man, that sounds dope. Okay. Here's your interlude. You once pushed back against a joke your family tells at your expense. How did you surprise yourself? How did your family surprise you, if at all?
I think this would probably be one of those family gatherings, a holiday. I'm trying to think of like some gendered experiences as far as like maybe if all of the women have to do the hunting and the prep work, it's a lot of work for a big family. I think we're probably like a family of like 45 total for every holiday. And like, it's a lot of mouths to feed in wolf or human.
Yep.
And the prep work for that is just ridiculous. So there was your stereotypical joke about like, oh, Ra, why aren't you, doing all the prep work for this holiday? And I don't know what kind of like, IRL am awful in these situations, and I just like go silent and don't respond. I'm trying to think of like what would be like a badass answer, that you think of like 4 hours later in the shower.
Sure. Why aren't you in? I mean, what if Ra said, because that's women's work?
Yeah.
Like leaning into their stereotypes and reinforcing that you are not that.
Yeah. And this was probably like when I was 25 or 26, because there were some people that didn't make a grumble or didn't make a big fuss about it. There were some like, I mean, there was a good amount, like there was that uncle that was just the worst.
He's the
Uh,
worst.
my mom, Sweet Pea, they all
Ugh.
had the standard things to respond to, maybe from where they were doing prep work. And I think yeah, one or two of my uncles and like one nibbling.
Hmm. Was it one of the AFAB nibblings?
I
Or
think so. One of the AFAB, yeah. I want them to have hope.
I, you can do it. There's a way out.
Right.
Um, yeah, I think maybe that's was the first time you kind of pushed back, and I
Yeah.
mean in such a vocal way.
Direct way and like around so much family. I would never have before.
No,
That's a big no-no.
yeah. Um, and it just then a couple years later led up to this pretty disastrous,
Departure.
tremendous birthday.
Yes.
Um, yeah. Okay, so I think we are going to wrap up the storytelling today. And so next episode we will do Panny's gender scene and also my interlude, and then both of our family scenes and interludes and the epilogue. So first is moments of gratitude. I am tremendously grateful to this game. I think that the whole point of a role-playing game is to put yourself in someone else's shoes. And I think that like this is a very literal and direct way of doing that. And I think that
Right.
it's important. And I would like to thank you for coming here and being vulnerable with me in this way. I think this game could get rough with family stuff. Like it can be really
Absolutely.
hard.
Hmm.
Um, like how did you feel about it? Or things you were grateful for, or were like, oh, this was a lot, or whatever.
I mean, first off, I'm very grateful for all of the check-ins. I've always kind of like, I prime my emotions for games like this,
Sure.
and I'm pretty good at compartmentalizing. So like I had pretty much everything was well handled, but there were a few moments where it was like I could put myself in those shoes instantly and be like, yep, that sucks. I hate it. It's the worst. Stop,
No more.
right. But at the same time, like I want a lot of people to play this game and experience that for themselves, because it is such a real thing. And the way that you can almost like control the degrees, like the levels of the intensity, I really appreciate as well within this game.
Yeah. And and you can uh, there's definitely when they're talking about it, like you can walk away from it. If you're in the middle of it and you're like, oops, not today, can't do it, like that they encourage you to make sure that you are in the right headspace before you sit down, because it's um a lot. It gets to be a lot, especially when you are putting yourself knowingly into situations where you are like, my family, the people who are supposed to be supporting me the most, are going to actively reject me in this scene, and we are going to play that.
Mm-hmm.
That's not it's not great for anybody's well-being. So thank you for being so open to do both sides of that, and because it's also not fun on the rejecting side. Like that's also real bad.
Right. I struggle even with like my language, like when I'm trying to be the worst and tell you you're wrong. I I'm like, don't edit, brain, stop editing. Just
Right,
say the
right.
thing. Like you don't need to soften the blow. I'm like, I do. This is
But I want
horrible.
to. Like I just want to, but they just need a hug, and Sarah
Right.
wants to hug them. Let me just do that.
Right.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Oh, but I would really love to play this game in like a personal setting too. And I would choose a lot more of the options and scenarios that are closer to my real life, because I think that would be a
Yeah.
fun thing to explore and kind of role play.
Yeah.
I've never thought of doing that, like, because it's so close to home, so
So
hecking close to
close.
home.
So close.
But it's a safe way to explore a lot of these things.
In a situation where almost in like a therapy-esque setting where you're not like, I've always, this is what I wanted to say to that family member. This is what I
Yeah.
wanted to tell them. I don't know how it would have come out or how they would have reacted. And I just like, go with me on this and let's see what happens. Might turn out terrible,
Right? There's always
but
that potential.
you are in a you're in a place where you can stop it because you know the other person is not actually that person.
Yeah.
You know, you're in the safety zone, you know.
It's a controlled space. You know
Yeah.
what the you know the parameters, you know there's going to be an end. You know what the setup is. I always feel having that outline in my head, it just kind of gives me the safety of knowing that like I don't have to argue with parental figure for like X amount of hours. Like it's
Right.
truly we're gonna
There's definitely an end to the scene and then
yeah,
we'll be taken out of it and there won't be repercussions
exactly. Not
down
gonna
the
dwell on
line.
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that's really nice. It's just yeah, having that control within an entire environment that is, uncontrollable.
Ah. Uh, yeah, I think that this is, so I've played it a couple of times now, and I think every time I come out of it, I personally am not non-binary, but there is so much that you can still relate to in the game, even if you are a binary gender.
Mm-hmm.
Because when it comes down to it, it's about being accepted for who you are as a person.
Yeah.
And if you can tap into that feeling, then you can maybe understand a little bit more what somebody who is grappling with gender is dealing with.
That's why I want everybody to play this.
Everybody should play this game.
Just experience a little bit of this trauma,
Just for just for a minute, and like, and what a privilege for people to be able to then step out of it
Right.
and not have to do it every day.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody play it.
Cherish that privilege and play this game.
Just put it down. Put your privilege down for a moment. Play this game. And if all you are comfortable with is doing like the lowest level of trauma, I guarantee that you will still still have moments where you're like, oh no, I had no idea that this is potentially how this was happening to somebody.
Mm-hmm.
Just grab it. Listen, you can go to the 9th Level Games website and you can pre-order it. Or I've seen it at a lot of friendly local game stores.
Ooh.
It is a lovely, it's about the size of a tarot deck, actually.
Nice.
It's got really beautiful illustrations on the cover. Go buy it. It's only $30. I know that I'm saying like, go buy this, pay $30 for trauma. And I know
sometimes though, like that's the best way to play a game. We have these wild fantasy worlds for a reason, and they don't all have to be rainbows and sunshine.
Yeah.
Sometimes they're lots of rain and too many feelings, but that's the best part. We can experience all of it.
Yeah, and it is okay to really feel your emotions. And the makers of this game told me last time we played it on the show a couple years ago that like there's often tears in these role-playing sessions.
Yeah.
And that's okay. And sometimes if you are with somebody that you really trust, like go there. Be all the way vulnerable. Be open. and maybe a little raw. And then afterwards, like share some dessert of your choice and just like remind each other that you love them and like just have, let some of that emotional weight out.
Perfectly said.
The end felt a little bit like a TED talk there, but
a little. Thank you for letting us stand on the soapbox.
yeah,
It felt good up there, so thanks. We needed it.
yeah, and we're gonna do it again next week.
Yeah.
Ooh, just a lot. All right. Well, hey, listen, is there anything else that you would like to share before we tell people where we can be found on the internet?
Um. Oh, okay. So I'm gonna get back on the soapbox for like just a half
Hop
a
back up.
second.
It's there.
Thank you. Over in Canada, we are dealing with it's a very specific kind of anti-LGBTQIA plus kind of protests where a lot of these people are using the guise of parents' rights.
Mm,
And I have been participating in a handful of counter protests lately. And the only thing that I just wish people would take the time to do is talk to the children. Stop talking for them.
yeah.
Ask them, because there's so many people fighting about this. And I don't think that they've even taken into consideration their own kids that they're fighting for.
Yeah.
Because, like, I don't know, us queer people deserve to be safe, happy, and healthy.
Yeah.
And educated. These kids are just trying to go to school.
I feel also like there is a tendency for some groups of people to white knight without finding out who the people you're speaking for are actually feeling. And I think this is just another example of that, of like,
absolutely.
But they're kids, they don't know what they want. I bet they do.
Right?
I have to tell you, I used to be both a preschool teacher and a Girl Scout leader, and they were the most opinionated people. They knew exactly what they wanted.
Oh my gosh.
Like, we grow out of that because at that age, when you're kids, you just know, like, society hasn't told you what you want as hard. And so you can just, like, they all know what they want to be when they grow up. Weird combinations of things, but like it's because it's a bunch of stuff they love. Like they know that. Go talk to your kids.
It makes a difference.
And
like just be kind.
Yeah. And lead by example.
Yes.
Another TED Talk.
I told you it was going to happen.
TED Talks forever.
Yes.
Love it. I love it. B, where can we find you on the internet?
Ooh, I am on almost every single social media platform that is currently in use. You can find me as at bzelda_. I am a tabletop performer, podcaster, streamer, writer, sensitivity consultant. If y'all are into any of that, look at some of the stuff I do. I sometimes talk about it.
I sometimes do stuff.
I do so many things,
What do you have coming up, keeping in mind that today is Friday, September 22nd, as we all know.
Yep, absolutely. What a great Friday. I'm going to be on Streampunks odd day of the week. I've got so many shows coming up. It's just like I don't know when because I don't understand how time works.
It's a bunch of like weird
timey
synapses. I don't know.
Yeah. But yeah, if you're on Twitch, look for some D&D streams and or Pathfinder. I started playing Pathfinder. It's intense.
It is intense. It's very fiddly and crunchy.
It's my third time trying to get into it. I think I'm finally there. The first two, I just got so frustrated. I'm like, there's a lot. Too many numbers. I don't want to do this.
So much math.
But no, I found a system that's kind of working for me now. So like I'm enjoying it. And that's, it's a first.
Yeah. So just like type B Zelda into your Google machine.
Yes.
And then so many things will come up and you'll be able to find them playing some delightful game.
You got it.
I'm sure of it.
Where can we find you?
You can find me all over the internet at Pixies and Pins or my website, which is pixiesandpins.com. And I have been doing a Thirsty Sword Lesbians series over on twitch.tv/Winter's Tales. We have our third episode. Yeah, that feels right. It is the third episode, but it is the second session because of session zeros and things. But those are on Sunday night, American Sunday nights, Australian Monday mornings. And every Friday right here. I think, next week I'm forcing B to come back and tell more wonderful stories with me. And I like twisting their arms so hard.
Yeah. It's a real struggle.
It's real rough. It's hard. And then I have some stuff coming up. I just chatted with the folks who made Badge Quest, where you play a Girl Scout troop who are fighting cryptids, and your character advances are merit badges that are actual badges that you can buy.
Cool. Oh my gosh. Yeah. That's amazing.
I got so excited when I saw it, and my brand is very strong. And so 4 different friends of mine sent me the Kickstarter link because they were like, oh my God, Sarah, this was made for you. And I was like, it was. Very exciting. So yeah, but if you are a creator of games at home, whether you feel that you are professional or amateur and you think you have a cool game that you might like to see here on Sarah's Table, please send it to me. Contact me on all of the medias at Pixies and Pins. I am around. Yeah, I'm going to throw out some thank yous. First, I'm going to thank B for being on here again with me. I just keep sending links and making you click on them.
I'm going to keep clicking them. Like, there's no stopping me.
Love it. And I would like to thank Marcus Mays for being our tech and making sure we were running smoothly on Gen Con TV. I'd like to thank my partner, Jeff, for being my personal tech support and also editing this together and making sure that I stay at least partially sane most of the time. I'd like to thank Gen Con and Peter Atkinson for trusting me to program this delightful show. And I would like to thank all of you at home for allowing me to have my job be bringing you super dope indie games and making you feel a lot of feelings. I've been doing that a lot the last couple of weeks. I promise that soon we'll do some sort of slapsticky shenanigans just to lighten it up for a minute. But I can't help it. I have so many stories inside me and none of them fit and they have to come out. So yeah, I think if I forgot to thank you personally at home, if you're watching this, I mean it. It was for you that was in there. I swear. Beep, beep, beep. Yeah. So as always, keep making art and keep being art. We'll see you next time.